Live from the internet, this is the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast. This is episode 73, recorded on October 17th, 2019. I am your host, Mark, and I am joined by my co-host. First is Mino Spellgood. I know you're not doing great, but how are you doing, Mino?
Not great. I don't know. I'm gonna drink heavy tonight. I need some escapism. Rough week all around. Fuck.
I'll just wish for good luck on your REM pulls.
Thank
And
you.
that
That means a
would be
lot.
the voice of our other co-host. He is back from his vacation of the podcast. His name is Kriese, aka Zerink. How are you doing, Kriese?
Getting ridiculed by Serah in chat because I said REM instead of Realm. I'm sorry, I meant Realm.
Same character, right? Aren't they just two different ways to say the same? No. We are talking about Realm tonight. But before we get into that, thank you both for being with me and being with all of you. And thank you all of you joining us live on Twitch. We do record Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Central. That would be Friday, 1 a.m. UTC. And we do thank you for joining us live. Thank you for all of you who are cheering and subbing. That does help support our podcast and the work that we do. If you are an Amazon Prime member, hey, feel free to jump on and give us your Twitch Prime sub. You get a free one. That does help us as well. Welcome all of you joining in video on demand later on YouTube and on the various podcast services, our website, etc. You can find out everything you need to know about us at tccpodcast.com. So let's start the show. Well, we have some news to cover of the day. We did have maintenance on the 13th, and that just removed the special boosted for Ramuh. So, gentlemen, did you kind of finish what you wanted to finish with Ramuh before special boosted was done?
I did the 6 masteries for the limited time event, and then got everyone else's treasures, and then I just haven't touched it since. How about you, Kriese?
Oh yeah, I got everything I wanted. I mastered about 20 boards, I think, somewhere in that ballpark. I got treasures for every character who was released by the time summon boards or the special boost was done. So I made out pretty well. I did what my goal was. Obviously, if I'd had all the time in the world, I would have mastered more characters, but I got the ones that I wanted to mastered.
Yeah, I did about the same 20 to 25 masteries, and I still have to finish Alpha and Noel's. I got Ramuh and Ifrit. I got to do Shiva, I think, on them. But that's easy enough. They still have boosted for a little bit. But yeah, not too bad. Didn't seem like a terrible grind, and I got all the treasures as well. We do have 2 costume bundles currently available. The Noel costume is a new one, and the Ace costume is a rerun. But you can pick both of those up for the rest of this week. Also, a reminder.
Note that these costume bundles are not actually new. They were available last week, but
Yeah.
no one on the podcast seemed to remember them.
No, we forgot a couple things like that because there was so much to talk about. So we'll catch up on that as well. We do remind everyone that Facebook integration is ending soon. So whether you are on Apple or Google, make sure that you use that system to back up your game through Google or through Game Center. Make sure that you are not just backed up on Facebook, or you will no longer be able to transfer your game. And we did talk about last week, Square Enix Joshua has said that they're finding some ways for streamers and other content creators or people who just like to change devices regularly, is that there will be options for them. But for right now, they don't have that, so please get on that. We are also in the midst.
Just as a reminder, because of the podcast last week and putting the outline together this week, I did switch and link mine now to my Google account from Facebook. In game, it's as simple as hitting a link button for Google. At least I'm assuming it's the same thing for Apple.
Yeah, just Game Center for Apple. Very simple. Mine was already connected to Game Center, so I just unconnected Facebook and I'm just connected to Game Center. So not very difficult. Pretty easy to do. If you have Apple, pretty much all your games go to Game Center anyway. So that brings us to the Portal app campaign, which is ongoing, and I believe
it's actually
cleared.
done as of a few
Yeah.
hours ago.
Yeah.
Someone posted to Reddit earlier today that we have achieved all the rewards for the month.
Which is surprising because I thought we were way behind track. So thank you everyone who has been on the Portal app. And
a couple things about that. This happened last time we had the Portal app campaign. I don't think it updates regularly, and also there's a huge influx of points halfway through the month. So we've hit that turning point where we get the huge influx of points at about the midpoint. So that probably explains why the jump occurred all of a sudden.
So they did add some additional rewards. So there will be high crystals added to the weapon tokens and armor tokens and everything else that we're going to be tickets, maybe everything else that we're going to be getting. So that is some great rewards. Thank you for everyone who was on the Portal app. Keep it installed on your phone, even if you don't do it. There are also currently 2 Chocobards. There's an Autumn Festival or the Halloween event board, and there's probably going to be another one of those, and the late October board. So there's going to be most likely 4 Chocobards this month. So make sure that you are clearing them all because those are good rewards that are easy. Playing through the regular story and the lost chapters, you got all of the enemy requirements, so I don't feel like you got to chase those enemies. But do make sure you have to bring Aerith, you have to bring Ace, you had to bring Ramuh, you had to bring somebody else in that. Noel,
for
maybe.
the October Autumn 1 that ends in 6 days, you need Chocobo, Noel, Locke. Other than that, it's defeating magic pots from the seasonal co-op.
Yeah, it was just 3.
Red Scorpions and Cockatrice, which are both in the new story chapter.
Yep.
So it should be pretty straightforward to do. And in the new one, it's Ida as well.
Yep, Ida, Aerith, and now I forgot the other person. Ida, Aerith, and who else is on that Chocobard? Anyway,
Ace.
And Ace and Ramuh. So you're going to have to play with those characters for a little bit, regardless of what they look like. But that's fine. It's just 10 or 20 missions, and you'll be done. It might be 25 for Ramuh, but that's not hard at all. Well, that's the news of the day. That does bring us to our event that launched, or was I should say this. We last week had an awakening wave that has a corresponding banner and raid event, which launched after we recorded. So it launched on Sunday night here in the United States. We record on Thursday. Although the awakening wave hit and we already went over Aerith, Ace, and Serah, we did not cover the banner and the raid event. So we will do that tonight. So we did get a free triple EX banner, or a first free pull banner, with Aerith EX, which is new for us, Ace EX, which is returning, and Serah EX, which is returning. And of course, Ace and Aerith got some reworks. Serah got her AA ability, and so did Ace and Aerith. So did you guys get anything from that banner?
Oh, sorry, Kriese. Do you want to go first?
I can go first because I can cover this pretty fast. Since I've sworn off specifically pulling for characters with cursed artifacts, I knew going into this the only pull I would be doing is the free pull. Luckily, the free pull only gave me ACX, which was new for me, so I lucked out.
I was going in ready to pity Ace EX. My luck kind of continued on the free pull. I got Aerith. And then I said, oh, I'm just going to ticket pull until something happens. And what happened was I MLB'd everything on the banner, but didn't get another EX. Oh, no, I got a duplicate Aerith EX. That's right. But so it's meant to be. But I guess when the only thing I was missing was Ace EX and Serah EX, I just said, all right, this is a sign. I shouldn't pull anymore.
Yeah, I did not get anything on the free pull. I did do 100 tickets for Ace EX and ended up with Aerith EX, and so I've been using Aerith as well, but no Ace for me as well. But that is a great banner. The Start Dash banner with Cloud Lightning and Squall is a great banner. I would suggest new players grab that. And just for the story content, so we have, I believe, 17 chapters There are 17 chapters you can go through, normal and hard. There are 38 lost chapters you can go through, normal and hard. There are 8 or 9 summons, and then 3 ultimate summons, and then a couple other World of Illusions. So there's a lot of normal content. And for normal content, even normal and hard content, if you had Ace, Serah, Aerith, Cloud, Lightning, Squall, not even all of their EXs, but if you did, had the entire kits, those 6 people are going to get you through all of that. You know, I would maybe focus on a couple of them, but it's a great way to do it. And obviously, triple EX banners are not the norm. Even moving forward, we're going to see a lot more double EX. And of course, those 6 characters aren't necessarily going to get you into Chaos 100%, but they do. What 3 of them get early EX pluses. Cloud gets an early EX plus, Ace gets an early EX plus, and Squall gets an early EX plus. So it's not even a terrible banner looking forward into other content. So I mean, it's just a really good banner. And you have the EX shop here for the next few things. So yeah, that does bring us to the Blackened Will. And again, spoilers.
You just mentioned the free EX weapon shop. We're 8 out of 10 days for getting the tokens now. Tonight will be day 9. So if you've been keeping up, you should be on token 8 at the moment of this recording, token 9 in about 20-40 minutes if you do it right away. So we're close to being able to get the EX weapon you want.
So yeah, you have to remember to get those 10 tokens and get your EX. You have to log in every day, and you have to do 5 battles and claim your token. So if
alternatively, just wait until day 10 and then do 5 battles.
Yeah. So will it be 5 battles or will it be 50? Because some of those don't automatically give you that unless
I assume they stacked on top of each other so you could do them all at the same time, but I have been doing them as I've been going along.
Yeah, that would be interesting to know. I don't know if that's how that works. So either way, hopefully you have 8 or you are close to 8, so you are about to get your free EX. So that is exceptionally wonderful. And
someone is asking in chat if you can bank the EX tokens. No, you cannot. No. You must use them or they will be lost. So you have to. Yeah. You should, once you have the EX tokens available, pick one.
There is, if you look at the EX. Oh, the game's been updated. Give me a second. If you look at the EX power token shop, which is where the EX are that you can get for free. Oh, crap. Now there's a download, of course. All these different things. It is not a forever thing. There does become a permanent EX shop later that we will get additional EX weapons on. I believe we've gone back and forth whether it was 1 more or 2 more. I believe it is 2 in Japan. They've gotten 2 additional EXs. They've gotten 3 total. So, but once they get their permanent shop, they've been able to get enough tokens for 2. So there's 23 days left in the EX power token exchange that goes along with the Start Dash campaign. That means if you do not collect your EX and those 23 days go, you will not get a free EX. It will be gone and you will not get them back later. So make sure you do pick up your free EX. Make sure you're going on every day for those 10 days and getting them. Or after the 10th day, you can go on whenever, so it's fine. But yeah, you will lose it. It is use it or lose it. Anything else about that?
And we'll make reminders about this as we get closer to the EX token shop expiring. So we will try to remind you guys when we can.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to Blackened Will. He was Willie. He was our enemy in our raid event. And of course, the raid event does have some individual missions and co-op missions. The co-op missions we'll get into the grind, but the co-op missions then deal damage to the boss, and the individual missions do as well, I believe, right? Or maybe just the co-op deals damage to the boss. And the goal for us is to beat...
Only the co-op battles give damage to the raid boss. Doing the non-co-op versions just get you credit towards unlocking more.
So the goal of this is to beat the raid boss so many times. Actually, 50 is what we need. We have currently beat him 29 times. Yeah, we're not close to 30 yet. So we've currently beat him 29 times. We want to get 50 total, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But as you see, if you open the event, you have several kind of non-co-op, a level 40, a level 100 EX, and a Cosmos 150 that are individual runs, and then in between them is a level 70 co-op, a level 100 co-op, and a level 150 co-op that is Cosmos. The co-ops do give Idoja's artifacts for all the characters that are on those banners, which is great. It also then adds points to the damage that the raid boss is taking and ends up giving us community kills for the raid boss. To get to the level 100 co-op, you have to beat the level 100 mission. To get to the 150 co-op, you have to beat the level 150 or Cosmos mission. So what you fight is Blackened Will. It's one wave. He is kind of a pain in the butt. So
he's an asshole. It's a simple way.
Did you want to talk a little bit about this fight, Kriese? What Blackened Will does?
Yeah, I can talk about it a little bit. I've only done the Cosmos normal stage complete once. I barely touched the Cosmos co-op because I hate the damn thing. But I can give a breakdown of the fight. Basically, Blackened will recover from break on many, many turns throughout the fight and just do AoE HP damage, inflict a ton of debuffs to the party, wipe generic buffs, and also give him and wipe buffs from or debuffs from himself. He's obnoxious is a good way of putting it, and he can waste a lot of time by debuffing the party, making you slow down on dealing damage. He's a huge damage sponge, and considering that he just AoEs through with ignoring any break potential. He doesn't do brave damage on those AoE attacks. He will deal a lot of HP damage even if you bring someone like Warrior of Light. So you're basically forced to bring a healer. So Aerith is the best example of a healer to bring if you're doing this and using boosted characters. Otherwise, Locke is the other boosted character that can heal, but he has a hard time keeping up with the Cosmos level damage. So if you're not bringing Aerith to the Cosmos difficulty, you'll probably need to bring a different healer, such as Porum or Lena. I use Lena myself. And again, it's just you have to burn this guy down while also conserving enough ability uses that you can get through everything without running out of abilities before the end.
Lena is actually a good option for the Cosmos individual fight because she prevents the debuffs and she does heal. So, but she does not burst heal, which is why Aerith is really nice because some of those hits are pretty big hits. The first few are not such a big deal, but the later hits are. I would say in co-op, I have seen Locke in Cosmos co-op. Locke's healing is sufficient.
The problem with bringing a stacked party of, for example, double Noctis Locke or Locke Noel Noctis is that while the characters have auras individually that stack together, they don't bring a lot of attack auras.
No.
Only Noel with his EX buff brings an attack aura to the party. So while you're getting huge max brave boost, you're not getting the attack boosts to complement that huge max brave, which is the reason a lot of people have been liking Serah as a good offensive support option because she brings a lot of attack boosts.
Yes, Serah, Noel, and Locke seem to be the easiest team, and if you have Serah, Noel, and Locke fully geared, you can solo the Cosmos fairly easily. Now,
the problem there is that this Cosmos raid is actually much harder than the last one, the Atlas raid that we had for the first Awakening wave. I was able to do that Atlas raid co-op solo on Cosmos difficulty with Warrior of Light EX and then Shantado and Laguna running 35 CP only. That was sufficient. This is hard enough, and the boss is a big enough damage sponge that you can't do that. You need really geared characters, and you need the right loadout.
Yeah, but like I said, I think with Noctis, not with Noctis, with Noel, Locke, and Serah specifically, we have people, including Inkwelder, who's been able to do it 6 to 7 minutes, 4 runs in 25 minutes. Inkwelder saying Cosmos solo. Other than that, I don't think you're going to do it very effectively solo, you know, with any other characters. Noctis is problematic in this co-op because the boss removes frame debuffs, so it removes point blank strike and it removes buffs, and so you have to continuously reapply his buffs and then reapply point blank strike, and it just takes a lot of time, and it's just a you know, pain in the butt, very truthfully. So Locke is really great. Noel, of course, is doing ridiculous damage. Serah is really great. I've been using Aerith in co-op just when I go into rooms where there's no healer, and she does fine with her abilities. But it is a arduous, especially if you're going in with random people. I've done that a few times. Remember, we do have, you know, co-op groups in our Discord, and you can look for people to do it in Discord. It's a little easier if you have a team. You can plan what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and make it fire. But this is, it seems, and I think Macnol, remember, Macnol does call to arms for all these events, MACNOL on Reddit. Macnol's call to arms, and that is linked in our show notes and the various things. You can see that. So he has said there's been some variety in the Cosmos, but not as many characters and not as many video submissions as most other events. That may just be because people weren't worried about it, but it also may be because it is a little more difficult than some of the other things we've done. So
I will also step in, and I want to step back a couple things. Locke does pretty good damage for this, but he suffers from the boss having so many AoE attacks.
Yeah.
Sneak Slash gets bonus damage when Locke's attacking a target not targeting him. And because Blackened does a lot of AoE attacks, the boss is often targeting him, so he doesn't get that damage bonus. It's actually pretty difficult, in my experience, to time it perfectly so he can take full advantage of Sneak Slash damage. So he's typically the weakest unit in the group when I run him.
Yeah, I've not had any issues with Locke. Seeing other people play Locke, I've generally been keeping to Serah and Aerith as support characters because I really don't enjoy using Noctis in this event. And he's doing fine, but it's just kind of, you got to pay more attention than I like to pay in co-op. So I'm notorious for doing that.
To jump into that, I mean, I'm going to agree with Kriese here that I think out of all the DPS, Locke performs the worst, but what a lot of people have been doing, like Ink solo runs, is you bring him as a healer with Serah's max brave down, and he can actually keep up with the heals.
Yeah.
So I think Locke is good in the sense that as a healer alternative, he's going to do more damage than Aerith for sure. Or who else heals in this?
I'm also going to point out that Ink's mentioning that Locke gets damage bonus from his C50, but Sneak Slash as an ability also gets a damage bonus just for targeting an enemy not targeting him. So it's a combination of the two. Locke cannot actually trigger his damage bonus from his Crystal Strength 50 until the boss does his first turn, because he always opens with an AoE attack. And Locke cannot deal the bonus brave damage with Sneak Slash until the boss is not targeting him, and that's the earliest it is on his second turn, the boss's second turn.
Yeah. Right, but I mean, as a healer alternative, he's great. But I think as a pure DPS, maybe Ace might be even better. By the way, I think this is a terrible event for Ace to show off because Noel and Noctis are running circles around him for now.
Yeah, I have not seen a lot of Aces. I don't know if anybody in chat has been using Ace effectively, but yeah, I have not been seeing Ace at all. I don't know that I've run with an Ace, period. CSAM is...
Ace just does not seem to be doing as much damage in my hands, at least compared to Noel Noctis. And Locke, despite not doing as much damage as Noel and Noctis, provides that utility with the healing. That puts him on my list pretty much every time. He is my go-to healer since I do not have Aerith right now. For co-ops, at least.
Oh, yeah, Jake is saying the run we just did had Ace in it. Yeah, that's... yeah, again, I don't pay attention very well, Jake. I think you know that. You've been in other co-ops with me where I've disconnected or not been paying attention. But yeah, I think CSAM, Hate 13, CSDX, Ragnamune, are saying they've ran Ace and he's fine. Erolai's saying he's seen a lot. Jake said, yeah, we just literally, Mark did a co-op with Ace. So that was Ace, Noel, and Aerith. Oh, that was fun. Yeah, so, you know, they're all 6 of the synergy characters are certainly usable in this event, right? So
I will say that Ace is probably the second least common co-op character I see, but I'm a little biased because I'm bringing Locke 99% of the time. And the least common I've probably seen is Aerith. Aerith's definitely the least frequent character I've seen in the co-op, followed by Ace, then Serah, then Noctis, Noel, and Locke.
well, Jake is saying I was the first Aerith user he saw. I've been maining Aerith.
I've seen Aerith, but I have not seen many people playing Aerith well in the EX co-op level.
Oh, it's easy. Oh yeah, well I've been doing in the Cosmos, but
just as a refresher for anyone who might have pulled Aerith's kit and now doesn't know how to use her, you want to maintain Aerith's buff from her second ability, Prayer of the Cetra. It gives her a huge attack bonus after being cast with a frame buff that makes her hit and just do everything better because she scales hard on attack. So you want to maintain the Prayer of the Cetra buff as long as possible. You do not want that to fall off.
Yeah. Yep, you know, you need to keep that up. It is a 10-turn buff, so.
I've seen people drop it, which is the reason I'm highlighting that.
Yeah, that sucks. There are a lot of people who aren't very good at this game, that's for sure. But yeah, we can all do better. We can all get better, that's for sure. This is a raid, and therefore there are community missions and individual missions. If you don't know, you can go to your missions tab, and there is the green missions, and then right below that there is the red raid. You hit on that, you have individual missions and everyone missions. The everyone missions are based on how many times we killed the boss. We have killed the boss 29 times. We'll get a mission for every few times or every time we kill the boss. Remember, there are also individual missions. One of them is personal score. So that's how much damage you do every time you do the boss. So if you're going into Cosmos, you get all of the missions, you know, you get the score, you get all the mission requirements, and you have 3 boosted characters. That's 200,000 points. If you're doing the EX battle, I believe 50,000.
If you're doing the EX Cosmos, then it's 50,000 points.
50 is as much as you can get with 3 synergy characters and completing all the missions. To get all of the rewards individually, you need 4 million points. The good news is the second half of that, so 2,000,001 to 4 million, are just 20 armor tokens. So if you want to get all of the excellent rewards, you only need to get 2 million points. If you want to get the additional 20 armor tokens, it's 2 million more points. And remember, there are also daily events. The daily events are clear 1 quest, clear 2 quests, and get 50,000 points. So if you do the EX twice, that's 50,000 probably, even if you blow a couple runs, and you've done the 2 quests. So you have to do that for 5 days now, and then hopefully get, you really want to get your 2 million because there are good prizes behind that. That's where you get your bloomstones, and that's where you get your upgrade material for the bloomstone. So I would encourage everyone to try to get 2 million. If you're having a problem doing co-op, come on, and we'll try to help you on the Discord as well.
One thing to note, and sorry, Mark, to cut you off, but
no, please.
Definitely try to get the 2 million. I'm going to echo Mark here. If you are just doing the EX difficulty co-op, it is 40 total completes with full boosted and meeting all score requirements to get that. That sounds daunting, but you're probably running 40 co-ops if you're doing any event just to get all the rewards, unless you're running like a 2 or 3x book.
Yeah,
so it's not overwhelming, and you can do it over time.
Yeah, five runs a day for 8 days is not terrible, even if those 8 days are spread out a little bit. So it does seem like a lot, but looking back early in the game, we were running dauntless, you know, just these co-ops early on had these score requirements, and they were just a pain in the butt. So this is similar, but it's also kind of community oriented. So the raids don't seem as bad to me as some of the early co-ops, but this Cosmos is difficult. And if you don't have the synergy characters, it is difficult. And I don't know, I would assume it's easier. It's easier to probably use synergy characters that aren't as good for the EX co-op than to use non-synergy characters for the Cosmos in terms of points. But I'm not 100% sure on that, which strategy will be better if you don't have a lot of these characters, the synergy characters. Thankfully, these are popular enough characters that you probably do have one of these characters and are able to use them at something, or maybe you pulled one on the banner. So
I will also mention that even if you are done with all the mission requirements, we still are a ways away from completing enough of the boss raid kills to unlock everything. So keep contributing, especially for now, while there's no other huge co-ops available other than the Trick or Treat co-op, because everyone needs to do their part so we can unlock everything.
Yeah, we do need to kill the boss 50 times to completely unlock Arc 2 Chapter 5.8, and then to get all those rewards that are connected to the everyone raid missions, and also to the clear Act 2 Chapter 5. That's 200, but that's not super great. But all of those special weapons and whatever's locked behind the last one, and all the additional stuff. So yeah, do it a few times a day just to add to the amount until we get that 50,000 or 50 kills, and then we can all move on with our life. Thankfully, raids are like an every other month thing, so it's not like this is something that we are destined to have to do every single week or every single weekend. I mean, this is one thing every other month, and it is a fun community thing, and I like it, even though this, I believe, talking to some of the JP players, this was considered the hardest of the raids. Or perhaps
considering
the most frustrating.
What we have seen so far, Atlas was a lot easier to do than Blackened will. It was nowhere near as grueling a fight, for me at least.
And I don't know if any of our JP players are on chat, but if anybody wants to confirm or deny that, I believe some of the coming raids seem to be, or at least felt easier to the Japanese community. So something to look forward. So. Yeah. Maybe
well, at the least, the next level of power creep will be upon us by the time the next raid arrives, so that will help a bit, probably.
Ink is saying the next one is really bad, so I thought this one was the bad one. Anyway, we'll find out when we get there. It won't be for some time, so don't worry about it. Anything else about the raid event, gentlemen?
Just little extra tidbits. You guys are doing so great. I barely have to chime in, so I didn't know where to fit this in. But I know a lot of people are unaware, even our own some of our own content creators. They're asking, why does the progress stall on every 9th battle, right? So 9th kill, 19th kill, 29th kill, so on. Those are worth 10 kills. So the 19th kill takes as much as it does to go from 10 to 19. And so a lot of people are asking why progress seems to stall. And that's why. And that's also why we're a lot farther along in progress than many people think. We're not even at the halfway mark, and I think we're over the halfway kill. Same with and I think what's every 9th kill? Something big, right? Like tickets or something?
Yeah, I don't have the rewards in front of me to tell you what that is.
Right, so it's not so bad. And just to add on to what Mark and Kriese have been saying too, is that Kriese is choosing to run the EX, and before the show started, I was telling him that I was thinking about soloing the EX the same way, but Cosmos is just that much better. A perfect Cosmos run is 200k out of 4 million. So you really only need 20 runs, which is 4 5-bell sessions, which Mark and I have pretty much knocked out in 3 to 4 days.
Yeah.
So I know the fight feels like hell, because I know 5 bells typically takes me an hour and a half. I timed this, but with friends too, but it's not that bad. We're not at the halfway mark yet, guys. We're barely at the quarter mark, barely past the quarter mark. So it is a tough fight, but I don't think it's nearly as bad as people are making it out to be. A lot of people just didn't realize it the first one because, as Kriese said, people bring Warrior of Light. You don't even have to pay attention. Nobody noticed how long it took for those ninth kills that were 10 times the amount of normal kills. It's just this one takes a little more focus. I do think all the synergy characters are fine though. I've gotten perfect scores with a team of all kinds of combinations of all 6 synergy characters. So I think it just takes a little more patience. So, you know, all those people who asked for harder co-ops, you got your wish.
There you go.
I'm not a fan of harder co-ops for reasons we've spoken about before.
Oh yeah,
when you have to grind something so many times, it is miserable when it is this hard that you can screw up and just waste a bell and potentially waste 15 minutes in the case of this Cosmos co-op. It's that long a fight in some cases.
Oh yeah, it can.
I 1000% agree with you, Kriese, but there's been many people over the years on Discord and the subreddit who this is their end game. Like, they won't tackle, say, Cosmos or the harder EXs, but they wanted a harder co-op because they wanted to play with their friends in a challenge or whatever. I wonder how many of those people regret that now.
The problem with what you're saying is if they're not willing to do the Cosmos fights to begin with, they cannot get to the Cosmos co-op, which is the hard part of this.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, I know. I agree. I think it's nonsense. I don't know. I'm sure this is hitting some target audience somewhere. As someone who's played MMOs for a very long time, I know that anything that you have to farm 20 to 40 times, you don't want it to be difficult. You want it to be mindless. That's why
considering I've come from not tippity top rating in an MMO, but like probably top 5% rating in an MMO, I totally understand. There is enjoyment to be taken from challenges. I just don't like a challenge where you have to grind out the same thing time and time again.
Oh, I agree. I mean, just to take a relatively similar example, in FF14, people have constantly been asking for, can we get raid level dungeons? Because I can't find enough people to do the raids or whatever. And it's just like, dude, you have to run like 10 dungeons a week. I just want to knock it out. I don't want it to, stuff you farm should not be punishingly difficult.
I will point out that in World of Warcraft, they found a way to do hard dungeons with what they call the Mythic Plus system, which is fun, but that's something you don't have to grind. Or if you want to interact with it as little as possible, you do not have to grind it to the tippity top or grind it multiple times to get all the rewards.
Yeah.
The point is...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Mark.
I was saying, Arolai is saying, I like Cosmos co-ops when I play with people who play decently. It's not so fun when they suck. That's true. It's not.
I'll also point out that I like using co-ops to play with characters I might not get the opportunity to play with in normal events. For example, Greg. I love Greg. I would be bringing him to this co-op if it was manageable and not a grind.
Yeah, sure. Well. Hey, I want to give
Aminosa brings up a good point. Sorry about because I remember my friend brought up the same thing, which is, well, you have to clear Cosmos to get into Cosmos, so you think there'd be a better quality of player. Well, you just have to finish the fight. You don't have to clear any of the conditions. You can gem revive. You could have a 0 score or take 500 turns, and you can still unlock it. And I'm almost positive that some of the people I've seen in these Cosmos raids did that, because I've seen characters only spam skills, no Brave Plus, no HP Plus in between, or summon as soon as their summon was up, and then sticker spam the rest of the fight because all they can do is Brave Plus and HP Plus, and then they lose that buff. I've failed a lot in the first 2 nights. It was really terrible. People are... Let's just say this is one of the, 2 fights in this game's history that I've stuck to pre-mades only. That's for sure.
There's a reason I stick to the EX difficulty, because that is much more forgiving for players who might not be the best skilled.
Star Shadow is saying, if you want a fun co-op where anyone can be good, wouldn't you run the Trick or Treat co-op? Certainly. I think the problem is there are community rewards and individual rewards for the raid co-op, so we're all focusing on that. Before we get to our next topic, which is the additional chapter, I wanted to give a shout out to Hiramura Cat, who is on Twitch with us. He's usually not able to join us live. So, hey, Hiromura, if you don't follow him and him streaming, he does stream on Twitch, and I encourage you. He has some good stuff, and I always appreciate his insights on the game and enjoy catching his streaming. So check out Hiromuracat, Hiromuracat, and Hero does some good stuff. So we welcome you, and great to see you here, buddy. That does bring us to the thing that went with this raid, which is Arc 2, Chapter 5.8, Torsions to the End. And if you didn't notice, hopefully you noticed, you go to Act 2 and you kind of scroll up in the void there, and you see this portal into a world of illusion. Act 2, Chapter 5.8, Torsions to the End. And this brings you into a new map where there are a whole bunch of nodes that are unlocked as we progress in the game or as we kill raid bosses. So we have unlocked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of the 17 nodes. So each of these nodes are currently just difficulty 50. And they are themed by Final Fantasy. So the first one was Final Fantasy 1, then of course 1 through 15. Each of these nodes, once you complete it or even clear it, unlocks a treasure chest that has a special mannequin weapon. It is a 15 CP weapon with EX weapon stats that gives a new 5 CP passive that basically acts kind of as a mighty boost to your characters, these main characters, the protagonists, the same ones that are in the EX shop, their abilities. So, for example, if you get Squall's weapon, which I did, it is only a 15 CP weapon, so 35 CP at most once you MLB it. Once you MLB it, it does unlock a special passive that is 5 CP, and that boosts Solid Barrel, and it boosts Renzo Kuken. They have the same stats as EX weapons, but not the same CP level. So, yes, I did MLB. I've not claimed any but Squall's, because Squall's one of my favorite. Well, he's my favorite character. So, he's the only one I've claimed. I've not even claimed the other ones because I don't want them just sitting in my, inventory. I did MLB it so I can get his passive, but I also equipped it on him because I like the look of it, because they are all the original weapons. So, for Squall, it's Revolver. For Cloud, it's Buster Sword. It's their basic weapons, and often we like the look of those basic weapons. So yes, Inkwelder's saying no. JP players have said that no character needs their MLB weapons, MLB'd mannequin weapons. They are, 12 power stones. You're never going to get another copy of them. They're kind of a weird thing. The 5 CP passive is nice.
I will make
it's
some
not
comments
needed,
about the mannequin weapons.
But
they're
yeah,
actually
so go ahead.
an amazing thing for newer players, because newer players might not have weapons for all these characters, since these weapons have EX quality stats on them. This gives them a potential character, even without 15 or 35 CP weapon passives, that they can use for some of the easier content. Because they'll have the stats of an EX weapon, they'll be pretty strong, even if that character doesn't have any of their other weapons. So that's a nice thing for newer players to consider using these weapons as a filler until they are able to better equip characters to clear content.
Yeah, definitely agree. Gonna chime in there. I was gonna say the same thing. It's great fan service. This is again during the Start Dash campaign where they're trying to and the EX shop where they're trying to attract new players. So giving all the protagonists a strong weapon right off the bat. Oh, by the way, I was tricked by the missions. I saw a turn count 105, and I was like, oh, this must be a tough fight. So I brought an A team, and it killed it in like 5 turns or something.
Yeah,
and I was very upset. The game tricked me. But also, I think this is a great stopgap for basically weapon glamours, as people have been saying.
Yeah.
Like being able to choose the look of your weapon. As you said, Mark, it is the original signature weapons. So, for example, I love putting the Buster Sword on Cloud. So what I did was I MLB'd the mannequin weapon, and I sold his EX because it has the same stats, and now I can just equip the EX passive.
Yeah, and I'm just catching up on chat. I apologize, but there are some characters that if you had their 15 and 35 CP and not their EX, like Terra. Terra's a great example. Terra's EX is currently tragically terrible. Terra's usable right now. She probably doesn't need all of the CP on the, because the 35 weapons have more CP than these weapons, which is a problem. That's really my big complaint with this. I don't think there's any reason that these couldn't have had more CP. I understand, yeah, you want to pull for the EXs, but you're going to get EX plus coming, so you're not gonna you're still gonna want the EX pluses. But
sorry, Mark, I need to cut you off very quickly. There seems to be some confusion with someone in chat. These weapons are a different passive from the 15 CP and 35 CP weapon passives you get by MLBing those weapons. The passive boosts you get from these mannequin weapons are equivalent to the mighty or bravery passives that characters get through crystal strength levels, just on a 5 CP passive that affects both their first and second abilities. So these are not replacements for a character's 15 or 35 CP passive. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, so yeah, they're just kind of a fun thing. I think they are good for new players, especially if you're starting out and you don't want to pull on anything and you just want to use the 15 CPs. You can grab one of these fairly easily and have a very powerful weapon for some characters that may not need their weapons. The early characters, weapons did not give them a lot. Now, when we started playing, they sure did. But compared to what characters are getting now with their weapons, you know, like I said, if you did have Terra's 15 and 35 CP and did not have her EX, you're going to get the good stats from this mannequin weapon. You're not going to get decent CP, but you can make that up with armor, and you're going to be able to use her well. Squall's the same way. If you don't have Squall's EX, but you have his 15 and 35, maybe even if you don't, I'd have to check without his passives, but with his extensions, he's probably going to take the benefit of this good weapon and use the good stats because they are decent stats. But personally, the only reason I did it is because I like Squall and I like Revolver, and I found a way to use the lower CP and to equip that weapon because I like the look of it. So, and Cloud's my trash clearer, so you know he is what he is.
Hey, so this just in, don't sell your. These are not equivalents to the EX weapons, and you shouldn't sell because apparently EX Plus is coming up where you actually need the EX weapons to go into that. So I
literally just sold all my useless EXs, so I guess
do not sell your EX weapon because
I mean
EX Plus. We know EX Plus is coming in GL, but honestly, even if we did not know about EX Plus, I would suggest holding on to your EX weapons because they have higher CP values. And if you are fully summon boarding every character and getting Idojas and getting their Bloomstone passes and getting all their extension passives, you need the CP.
So I mean, okay, so if you did do that, you know, no judgment, not naming any names. Luckily, all of these mannequin weapons are for the 16 protagonists.
Yeah.
Who conveniently happen to be available in the EX shop. So, I mean, I'm almost positive. No, I'm 100% sure the EX shop was introduced to remedy this mistake. Sure, because this seems like a thing that many people would do. I'm sure.
and there is proof definitively that there were at least a couple people in Japan who did sell their EX weapons because they didn't think they would need them. I don't know why.
Who
would think that? It doesn't matter. It's not part of our show.
I just want to know. I just want to know where you're getting your sources. Is this anecdotal?
I'm more than happy.
Or do you actually know?
Yes.
People who really did that.
I've watched their
Japan?
videos. Yes, I've watched the videos.
Whose video? Like, whose video?
Prominent JP content creators, who maybe made that mistake. So, but we're gonna move on from that and talk about something I believe that we didn't really get to cover last week, which was Arc 2, Chapter 5, the story. So I'm going to stop if you have not finished Arc 2 Chapter 5 story, we may share spoilers. Now, the raid is a spoiler in itself, but so I just want to give that spoiler warning. We're going to be talking about Arc 2 Chapter 5 for a few minutes. Feel free to skip ahead or just wait, finish the chapter, come back to this. If you're on Twitch, close your ears, I guess. We're not intentionally going to be sharing spoilers, but they may come up. So your spoiler warning. So did you guys finish Arc 2 Chapter 5? I just finished it, normal and hard mode. So mine is done. What did you think about the story?
I have only done normal mode so far, but I actually enjoyed the story. But that's also because it involves some characters that I'm big fans of. Locke and Noel are two characters that I've enjoyed a lot from their original games, and I like their characterization in DFFOO. Locke's kind of the plays kind of a mentor and team mending role, I guess is the best way to put it. He's there to try to keep people in mind and keep them going forward, even when he's the one who's really struggling in the background. And I think that came out really cool in this chapter.
Mino, any thoughts about the chapter? Because I think you had a different take on it.
Everyone's expecting to shit on the fucking chapter because that's all I was doing to this morning. But
that is what you were doing earlier today.
I mean, that's not a productive discussion. I don't feel like this should go on record. I mean, I'm just gonna shit on DFFOO's story all across the board. But so, I mean, I don't think anyone has anything to gain from that.
Yeah, I think your basic argument, now correct me if I'm wrong, is that this is not Shakespearean drama, correct? This is not the deepest, most complicated storytelling in video game history, let alone in the world of art and theater.
Okay, I mean, so I guess it's out of the bat. Chat's already talking about it, so I'm not drunk enough for this. Hold on, let me take some more drinks.
While Mino's drinking, let me chime in. I enjoy this in the same way I enjoy pulpy fiction or high-quality fan fiction. So it's a lot of fun. It's not like top-tier writing by any standards, but it's fun writing. I enjoy it. I love the interactions.
Yeah, I enjoyed the chapter.
I mean, I love.
I don't have any problem. Go ahead.
Okay, so answer my question. But first, I will say, look, for that and for this game, I love the LCE cutscenes and the event cutscenes because it's pure character interactions. Like, oh, we all know Sid's in our world, or oh, these two characters are similar, or Zack pumping up Cypher and Zell, whatever. Like, those are fine. Those are great. But in the story, it has the syndrome of anime taking itself too seriously with nothing to say. I don't know. I could go.
So we
joked,
go into this, just going in the time machine. We joked early on in the podcast, and you can go back and listen to all of 73 episodes on our website, tccpodcast.com, or on YouTube. We joked early on because every single event was the same story. Hey, who are you? I'm so-and-so. Do you want to join our party of heroes? I don't think so. Are you sure? Okay. And that was the story. Like 20 times in a row, the first 10 to 15 characters, that was the story. And eventually it changed and got a little bit more complex. So I feel like the story has gotten better over time. And certainly some of the writing is getting a little bit better over time. But yeah, it's not. And to be fair, I might get in trouble for saying this, no Final Fantasy game is certainly winning any prizes for award-winning writing. So, I mean,
sure, yeah, I can agree with that. But well, this is because apparently people in chat want me to just fucking unload. Let me. Okay, I'm already drinking, but let me see. Where do I start with it? Okay, so like you said, I would have preferred if every event from the beginning to the death of this game was, hey, let's go close Torsions. And, hey, I don't trust you, stranger, but we're fighting alongside now, so join our 200-man army because we need you for some reason. That would have been fine. There's no pretending what they're doing, but this is going into very bad fan fiction territory very fast. I kind of want to talk about this last week, but so Ultimisia features in this story.
Yeah.
As someone who's been talking to Noel, and she's painted in this very sympathetic light, quote unquote, very sympathetic light, where she's a very lonely person who's fated to become the sorceress, and they try to change all this context that her original game gave her by saying, she was destined to be the sorceress, seeds are destined to hunt her, what a poor soul she is for being so lonely in the future, blah blah blah. And then there were several Reddit threads that are saying like, oh man, Ultimisia is such a tragic character. She's not even a villain. Like, there are heroes who are FF heroes who are more villainous than she is, which, oh my god. But I mean, people tried to point it out. They're like, hey, Ultimisia, she committed genocide. She wiped out gardens. She has like, she decorates her castles with corpses of seed members, and she wants to compress time, which she acknowledges will be terrifying eternal agony for everyone in existence involved, and she delights in that. Yet here we have a slight fan fiction of her talking to Noel and trying to be sympathetic, and boom, everyone's suddenly like, oh man, she's so sad.
Yeah, no,
and then,
but hey, to play devil's advocate,
I
think it was pretty clear in the story once Noel got together and they saw Ultimisia, Squall and everybody else is like, yeah, she's the devil. Like, I understand that she was nice to you, but she's kind of evil incarnate. They were pretty clear about that. And, so, I mean, it was more of Noel's character, it's the same thing with like with Thanos, right?
I will also kind of dogpile on this devil's advocate thing and kind of quote Arolai, who just mentioned in chat, if only they wrote her arc better in FF8 itself.
Yeah, well, true.
And her arc, quite literally in FF8, is, I don't know who she is, I don't know who she is. Oh, she's this futuristic sorceress who wants to compress time for reasons. That is her arc.
Yeah, we were talking about this. If you go and check out episode 10 of the Crystal Chronicles, which was during the Sabin event, and I shit all over Sabin, FYI. Sorry. He was terrible when he came out originally, and still's not very good.
Yeah, I can't complain.
Can't complain that, but...
Yeah.
Sabin was a Ghostbuster.
Yeah, but he sucked at it. Anyway, that's a different situation. He did. If you go back, he was terrible at that one job that he had. He couldn't do. But we talked about villains, and a lot of the Final Fantasy villains are not that deep of characters. Again, you're talking about Ultimisia, who you didn't even know most of the game. Now, technically, Edea was Ultimisia, right? Renoa was Ultimisia. Edea was Ultimisia.
Spoilers for a 20-year-old game, spoilers, by the way.
But I mean, Cypher was your rival, and then the Sorcerer Edea was your rival. But really, at the end of the day, it was Ultimisia. And again, the same thing with Final Fantasy X. Who was the real villain in Final Fantasy X? Well, it was just some blob at the end that you had to fight, right? Sin wasn't really the villain. Jet wasn't really the villain. Yevon was the villain.
Was religion, as was like every Final Fantasy. Every FF villain is either religion or the Empire.
And I'll also mention that with the virtue of foresight, we know Ultimisia is becoming a party member in about a month and a half.
Exactly.
So this is laying some groundwork to make her sympathetic enough to join
because
the party and give them her dimensional coordinates.
That's what has to happen.
I mean, my complaint my complaint is they're setting this up for story chapters permanent. Events are temporary. So I feel like it's weird to set up a temporary event. Her LC is not going to happen for another year. If you're a newer player catching up later, you're going to be like, where the fuck does this lead for a year?
They did the same thing for Golbez.
Yeah,
fuck Golbez. No, he's never mentioned again. That's fine. I don't care. I mean, at least he had some closure to his shitty-ass arc in his chapter. Ultimisia just comes and talks and then walks away, and then doesn't even matter for the second half of the chapter. Like, what the fuck? But I mean,
I think Kriese brings up a good point in terms of and it's already been with Kefka. I mean, Kefka's evil, right? There's no, there's no like there's no compassion for Kefka. He's just evil. He just wants to watch the world burn down, right, to the ground.
I don't know. Let's ask Square Enix Joshua, #1 Kefka fan, if there's any sympathy. Because I know in the Dissidia games on the PSP, they try to play it. They try to give him more backstory to try to actually make him sympathetic in those games as well. Which
my understanding of Kefka's backstory is that he's completely insane due to the Mako infusions. Or the Magitech infusions. He just did not take them like Celeste did, and that.
Well, I mean, even in this chapter, they try to, justify it, saying, "Oh, Kefka's only experimenting because he got experimented on and he got turned into this. He was a victim too, so he's projecting onto these mannequins." They try to be like, "Oh, he was a victim of the Empire's experimentations," and all this shit. Like, this, like I said, this is fucking anime fan fiction. They're just trying to make everyone sympathetic, and the problem is people keep falling for. Okay,
I argue that they did not try to make Kefka as sympathetic as you play it out. I did not read that at all for this chapter.
Well, and I didn't think Ultimecia was made to be sympathetic. Besides, her trying to manipulate Noel, which
I read Ultimecia's thing as trying to open the door to her actually having a reason to be somewhat in the same interests as the party. That's all I read it as. Trying to give her something to latch on that she might share some common interests for, not that she was actually sympathetic per se.
Well, I enjoyed it. Kriese enjoyed it. Mino didn't, but it looks like a lot of people felt pretty good about the chapter. Again, I enjoyed the chapters. I feel bad for our JP players who burn through these stories and have no idea what's going on. Not that you need to play and enjoy the game, but I like the interactions and I like the stories. I think with the Lost chapters, you get a little bit more fun interactions because they're kind of off the beaten path. So it's a little bit more downtime and just a little bit more fun than these main chapters. But I've enjoyed Arc 2 very much. I continue to enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to where it goes in the future. Anything else about Arc 2, Chapter 5?
I will mention that for the most part, they've done a pretty good job with the villains being quote-unquote allies of the main party. They kind of have shared interests for a period that makes them see a reason to work together. For example, Sephiroth's last chapter is due to his keen interest in Mog and his connection to Materia and whatchamacallit, the Chaos guy. I don't remember his name off the top of my head.
No, Spiritus?
Yeah, Spiritus.
I don't know who
Sephiroth seems to be more keen on getting close to Mog so we can figure out more about Materia and Spiritus than he is about actually helping the party. Seymour is kind of a jerk, but is forced into being helpful. Kuja plays to the song of his own drum, but isn't truly evil. He's more just personally invested in his own stuff. Kefka's totally insane, and he's the only one who's presented as a character why are we even taking his dimensional coordinates? This is a terrible idea, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Look, I don't give a shit. I said in Discord, they make up excuses so we can use villains in our party, which is fine. I don't care. It's when they try to really spin this bullshit. Like Mark said, LC cutscenes, hilarious, fun, fan service. That's fine. But when they try to really take themselves too seriously and try to justify all these bonkers bullshit going on, it's so thank you, host, for cutting me off. I could do a whole 2 episodes on how bullshit all of this is.
We do have more important things to talk about.
Right.
Yeah.
So
sorry,
we'll move on.
I just want to do one thing. Eon says that going forward, they do more and more villain events where they kind of force the villains to work together with them. She mentioned specifically Caius's dimensional coordinates are actually stolen by Locke. And that kind of is a harken back to Seymour's event where he has to forcibly give up his dimensional coordinates. Mog actually summons him against his will at first.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's
so we'll move on, but I do want to say one last thing is what Kriese said is basically, oh well, the story's just here to service the gameplay, which I'm fine with. What I do want to say is hilarious is that I asked our Discord, I was like, why? What? Tell me why this chapter is so good, because a lot of people were saying it, they're not giving me concrete reasons. And when people say gameplay, I'm like, they fed us several recycled bosses, and people are kissing their ass. I'm sorry, and at risk of earning the ire of Square Enix, they gave us Ultima Weapon, which we've already fought before, Kefka, which is an old staple, and then they've somehow worked Blackened Will back into the story as another boss, and we're supposed to praise them for recycling these bots. We got 0 new enemies, well, not counting the minor enemies in this chapter. This was a whole chapter of recycled fucking enemies and bosses, and we're supposed to think this is amazing.
Again, I enjoy the interactions that the characters have across the different games. I like Locke interacting with Noel and with Noctis and trying to boost morale while he's the one who should feel the most down in this chapter.
Yeah, Ramuh's saying the CPU was a new boss for us. There was a couple new bosses here.
Inkwilder Singh Poonbaba was new, but I'm pretty I thought we saw him before.
Poonbaba's new and CPU's new. Yep. We've never seen them before.
Yep.
Well, fuck it. They could have been the main boss, but we were capped off by another goddamn Blackened Will and Kefka.
Well, I just noticed that we, as of tonight, surpassed 10,000 views on Twitch. That's pretty exciting. 10,000 total views of our podcast via Twitch. So thank you, everybody, for making that happen. That's very exciting. Were there any of these fights in particular in the hard mode you wanted to talk about? The only one that comes to mind...
I have not done the hard mode yet because of the raid grinds.
The only one that comes to mind as difficult was Dim Alley Part 2, which was one of those red nodes. 5 waves. The last wave was 2 Krakens, a regular Kraken and a Sand Kraken, both which were very resistant to physical melee and physical ranged damage. And I brought Warrior of Light, Noctis, and Pain. And as I started fighting those Krakens, I realized something's not right. And in fact, it was because I had no magic damage and I was just hitting that resistance. And realizing I don't have Ace. If you had Ace, this probably is not very difficult. I don't have a lot of good magic options right now. So, but yeah, we do have Serah, Ace, Yuna, Terra, a few others. The twins are probably not terrible in this. A couple others. So make sure you bring magic to that. That's basically, Renoa is good. I think Kylax is saying Renoa, Serah, Yuna. I think that was my team as well for that.
I bet Alice works great for that.
Yeah, Alice would be a good one for that. Just make sure you bring magic. That's all you got to say because physical and ranged is not going to cut it. We do have the CPU battle where you have the CPU and the attack node, defense node. I believe you destroy the defense node first. And then you can do the attack node and then the main body so it doesn't get its super attack or something. I did not find that particularly challenging.
If it works like Final Fantasy IV, you're supposed to do defense node, then main CPU, then attack node.
Oh, okay, defense, main, attack. Okay, yeah. Yeah, you're right. It does work.
I might be mistaken. I haven't done the hard mode of this fight, and it died in 1 AoE when I did it on normal.
Yeah, it's not super, super hard. I don't... The other big node, the other... gold node was, again, I didn't feel was super challenging. Yep, it's a prominence, which is the bomb that explodes and spawns other bombs. Just has a lot of HP, but nothing too different. And the big fights with this were, I did them in the wrong order, but the big fight is the Terra and Celeste mannequin fight. It's just one wave, these 2 really tough mannequins, and Terra she can take you out. She can meteor you and it's not good. So just watch out for that. And Celeste does runic, so she absorbs magic damage, but it's one wave. It's fairly manageable. I don't think anyone's having considerable problems with this. If you are, come on Discord and we will help you out. So as of 19 minutes ago, people, we do have a new event, an event called Realm Lost Chapter. I forget what Realm's event was titled.
1,000
words.
Words. Isn't that a song? Yeah, 1,000 words. It is Realm Lost Chapter, and our own Mino Spellgood would love to talk to you about Realms, rework, EX, level 70, all that good stuff. And did you pull her already?
Sure. Okay.
Go ahead.
I mean, we should always have Kriese do the basic summary because you know me, I'm just gonna gloss through everything. Oh, by the way, I did my polls. I got it.
You do know I know nothing about Realm. I was betting on you.
Whatever.
There's no basic.
Do it live.
Go to Dissidia DB if you want to get the stats. Ink Welder and the Tomberry Troop. I believe Ink and Dreamy did the current graphic. We have that linked infographic. You can get all the information about that. Tell us how Realm works, what we want to do with her, how she plays, and how much did you spend for it?
50 tickets.
Oh,
I'm in an extremely lucky streak. It's almost scary these last 2 months.
So are we tied currently? Are we tied?
Currently, we're tied, and then the EX shop, and then I don't know what you're gonna do for the AFMAO event. I'm probably gonna throw tickets.
Well,
I don't know.
Ink Welder has shared the Realm infographic in Twitch chat if you were listening to us live.
So for Realm summary, I'll also give a summary of her skills just because apparently there's still so many people who don't know how she works. But skill 1, which is Sketch Summon, is based on the summon you have equipped, which I raved about when she first came about as such a unique ability. It's usually magic. It's usually the element tied to your summon. But certain summons, I believe Chocobo, Odin, and help me out here. There's a third that actually makes it physical AoE, and then of course Sylph batteries and heals as well. It used to not be such a great ability because it was very weak potency-wise, and AoE for sure, split AoE. They added a 50% max brave battery to it, so now, regardless of what damage it does, it's a decently hefty battery.
That's a party max brave battery, by the way.
Yes. It batteries the party for 50% of her max brave. Now, also keep in mind that Realm has one of the highest max brave, if not the highest max brave total in the game. She has a tier 1 max brave stat. All of her buffs and passives give her a total of plus 155% max brave, which is ridiculous. You throw another summon on there, which adds a huge amount. You add auras on that, you can almost triple her max brave basically. So 50% max brave battery to the party is extremely significant. And then you add in whatever the hell Sketch Summon does, which is elemental damage, special effects, and then an HP brave dump into an HP attack. Other than that, it now overflows 150%. All the buff durations are increased to 8 turns from 6 turns. And all of her abilities now do weak damage, so an additional 50% damage if the target has the Sketch debuff on them. So that's the first skill. Second skill, Sketch. As a reminder, Sketch into Sketch Plus is exactly how Noctis's skill works, except instead of guaranteeing a turn right before the enemy acts, it guarantees a free turn right after the enemy acts. So you use Sketch once, goes into Sketch Plus, and then it reverts back and forth, kind of like Lock, kind of like Noctis. Increase the brave hits, increase the potency. It does weak damage, so plus 50% if the target already has Sketch, 120% overflow. Again, the buff durations have extended, and it now has an HP attack as well. As a reminder, it does the frame debuff Sketch, and it also inflicts blind when you do the plus version. And it lasts for 2 turns if you have the weapon. So that means 2 free turns per use. And then she gets a new EX ability.
Just to mention something before we move on.
Sure.
Her free turns are actually different from the free turns other characters get in that it does not add to friend turn counts or summon turn counts because she was the first one. And I don't think Square Enix realized how powerful free turns were until she arrived and they realized what it was doing to the game.
Right. I was actually going to touch on that later, but we can talk about now, which is basically we always talked about how Square Enix don't nerf characters for this game. So as Kriese said, she was the first person to get free turns that do not count. You'll notice if you read every other free turn from here on out, for Vayne, for Lightning, for Alize, it says the free turn does not count if it is a friend unit or if you go into summon. Well, Realms does count, and there are a lot of niche shenanigans you can get into by having a 7-turn summon or a 6-turn friend, which people have abused before. Even summoning her as a friend, you can get some ridiculous crap set up switching in and out on the free turn. But so can I move on to the EX, Kriese?
I just wanted to highlight that while you were talking about Sketch.
Oh, and Icepick is saying they just brought that back with Eldnarsh in JP. So their newest event character. So they kind of made it so that one more character in 10 months, so 2 characters total in the game's roster of 130 nearing, has this very unique free turn system. So with her 70 Awakening, she gains her AA, which is there's no way they called this in the official translation. Sketch Long is what it was called in JP, but I'm sure they changed that in localization coming over. But what it does is 2-turn sap on the target for free and extends 3-turn sap, and extends Sketch by 2 turns, which is on the target, which is very good for her weakness damage and her longevity. With that, that's 2 more free turns basically for, again, another free turn. Star Prism, her EX.
It's called Sketch Longer.
Sketch Longer?
Longer.
That's not. I mean, I guess it's longer. Better technically. It's technically better.
Sketch Longer extension. Square Enix Joshua says, just remember not to use her additional ability during her free turn. If it's used during her free turn, she won't act immediately after the boss. Thank you, Joshua, for that information. It's good to know.
So
it is called Sketch Longer. Yep.
Sketch Longer is still technically better than Sketch Long, I guess. And Square Enix says, Joshua is saying, no, I mean after her turn, as a clarification.
She doesn't get the free after her turn, yes.
Right. So moving on to her EX, which really brings her kit together. AoE HP attack, again, split, which is her big weakness, but, 6 attacks, 2 random targets, so it still benefits from hitting a single target. It applies Sketch to all enemies. That's a big deal. So, obviously, just like before, Realm works best the more enemies there are. So, if you're fighting a boss that has 3 enemies in that last wave, a single EX cast gets her 6 free turns. So, she gets a lot of turn efficiency if used right. Honestly, I'm not going to advocate people pulling for her, but I do think I'm just prepared to pity tonight because I really love her kit. I think it's super. It can do a lot of things. For example, it's still unique how Sketch works, where she gets a turn right after the enemy, and fights recently, especially this Cosmos raid we've been seeing, is that if the enemy gets consecutive turns because somebody messed up or took a break they shouldn't have, or the enemy is just that fast, that could be a wipe right there. But this guarantees that she's always intercepting the enemy at some point. Guaranteed. So she can do something about it. Like, for example, apply her Sketch Plus, which blinds the enemy, maybe saving your ass. And she gains an HP attack plus that extends all of her own existing buffs by a turn, and is a minor battery based on 20% of her maximum brave, which again is significant. So the old complaint is that even though she got so many turns, she couldn't do much with it, which it's still technically true, but she does give significant batteries and can at least help chip out with the increased potencies of her abilities and the huge batteries. So it's not completely useless as before.
And just to kind of
yeah,
bump in, the HP plus is tied to raising Realm's EX weapon to 3 limit breaks. So you basically have to MLB the weapon to get the HP plus. And as Mina was saying, this gives her an out, something to do on those sketch turns if she does not want to use abilities. She can Brave Battery the party on that turn immediately after an enemy attacks, which is great. It's just like, okay, I got this free turn. Here, let's set up the party for the next turns for the next several turns now. It's pretty nice, in my opinion. I'm not going to pull for her because I've pulled too much recently. I got to save for future pulls, but she's a very solid character who provides some unique utility.
Yeah, on the Tonberry Troops infographic post, there's a ton of comments on that right now, over 100 comments and growing. And it seems like the people who pulled on her initially, because I don't remember, I gotta listen to an old episode like Mark's doing right now to see what exactly I said about her initially. But I remember I was very passionate. My real life friend said that he pulled for Realm because I argued so strongly in her favor, I guess. And I did not regret that Realm pull. I used her for Deuce EX, which was one of the harder fights that we've encountered. I've used her for months for the AoE clear and just for fun, because her auras are 60% attack, 60% Embrave on top of whatever she gives herself. That is already one of the best aura bots in the game. Back then, it was the best aura bot until Rosa, and she earned her place in the party purely due to that. Now she's a pretty decent battery on top of that, as well as being able to tap into weaknesses. When Chaos comes along and elemental absorption and immunity is rampant, and more characters get imperils as part of their kit, because you look at the first 2-3 months of Chaos and everyone is getting imperil into their kit. You're only bringing the summon that matches the element to the weakness of the boss in Chaos 9 out of 10 times, meaning Realm's ability will always be useful because you're already bringing that summon weakness. The immunities and absorptions already cut out like half of your choices for summons, if not 2/3. So really, the elemental flexibility is extremely useful. I'm not going to defend her viability because it's a pull if you like her, pass if you don't. You're not going to miss anything. But she's also been demonstrated to pull her weight in several chaoses. I hate saying, oh, pull because it's a chaos viable unit, but because so many people want that advice. But it's just that what really touched me reading all the comments in the Tonberry Troops infographic post is that the people who pulled her enjoyed her and did not regret it. The people who didn't obviously say easy pass, not a meta character, whatever. But the people that pulled her and learned how to use her said they really enjoyed her. She ended up being useful and they had no regrets. And I think it's the same thing this time around. I was telling my co-hosts and fellow content creators that I was ready to pity the Realm just because I've saved so many gems going after meta. I finally want to pull a character that I just think is a blast to play and is fun. And, Inkwelder said last week that I had a type when it came to characters, and he's right. Realm is exactly my type. Wait, hang on. That came out wrong.
We have a emote.
Let's not bring that up.
Emote that is called something that might
was a poor choice
Mino's
of words.
type.
That was a poor choice of words. What I meant was that in terms of gameplay and play style, I very much favor how Realm plays and controls. That let's Pierre, can you edit that out of the podcast?
I just shared it.
Pierre, edit that out of the podcast.
If you are in the Discord, look in general chat and you will see exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
so yeah, but so the last thing I just want to say is I really think Realm is a for fun character.
Good.
And if you like her playstyle, you won't be disappointed for pulling her if you have the resources spare. But if you're a very meta-minded player, then it is, of course, by no means a must-have. But I will defend her by saying that entering Chaos, where many people need the EX Plus and the very extremely rare resource of books and ingots, she and Leon and Dark Knight Cecil's rework coming up are very good budget characters. And Aphmau, of course. If you need that gap stop in your roster, you really can't go wrong. Because just a quick preview, I believe, once it drops, you average about 3-4 ingots a month, 3-4 books a month. So
books,
it's you're choosing at minimum you're getting 1 EX plus a month. At best, if you're really lucky and you have all the EXs to use books on, you're getting 2 or 2.5 EX pluses a month.
You're talking about.
So I mean, there's no shame in pulling for budget characters moving forward.
Yeah, we're going to talk more about Ignite book management moving forward. We're not going to really talk about it until we get them and we know more about how it's going to launch here in Global. I know there's a lot of people asking those questions. We will cover it when it's a little closer. But Realm has, there were videos and runs of early Chaos using Realm with other characters who were not EX Plus. Fang LC was one of them. So, and Soul Cage was another one where there were Realm Inkwelder was sharing that videos where Realm plus a couple other non-EX Plus characters were able to beat the content. So that's nice. So she's not worthless is what we're saying.
I'll also chime in with my opinion on Realm. I am not pulling for her, but I definitely see her value. She's one of the most versatile characters in the game just because she can change her element to fit pretty much any situation. Her free turns are incredibly invaluable, especially because it can save against those, oh no, I made a huge mistake moments, such as a character getting broken and the enemy supposedly having another turn, except Realm jumps in their face and takes that turn first. She can do a lot of things that no other character can do, and that makes her incredibly strong, along with all of her supporting attributes, her auras from her passives, her ability to provide huge amounts of battery on an HP plus and an ability. So she's solid. I think she suffers from kind of the same issues that Locke does, being a little bit too jack of all trades. She provides a lot of benefits, but she's not great in any of them.
Good.
She'll probably get a place on my farm team for sure with those that huge ass 60% attack and max brave aura, and now her huge battery plus the AoE as well. She's gonna replace Twins on my team. Twins is already, they're capping on their M-Brave to my Twins M-Brave is like what, not even 20k out of synergy right now. It's hurting me.
Yeah. The problem is they do 100% HP damage to all targets.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm counting on Realm's auras to buff Renoa and Squall to the point that they can pretty much one-shot everything as well.
Very nice. Well, if you go to our community, our Discord community, and we have a poll, Quetz helps with the character poll. So every time there's a new character, there's a poll whether you're going to use tickets, gems, pity, or skip. 17 of our members said tickets, 2 said gems, 4 said they were willing to pity Realm, very interesting, and 32 said skipsies. So that's how it was looking. A brief section of our Discord. Feel free to go Discord polls and podcast polls and contribute to those every week, every time there's a new character. So Stray Bead had a question we didn't get to last week. Again, you can go to podcast questions, submit a question. We may talk about it on the show. We may not. No promises, but please feel free to do that. Managing 3 times tomes, those 3 times tomes, they're called, they're not books, that give you 3 times experience, 3 times skill generation, or 3 times items. Do you plan based on cost, based on number of tomes needed, or overstock? And I have this ties in with Vane Nova's question about the value of time versus resources using 3 times books or 2 times books. Gentlemen, what's your strategy when it comes to using 2 times books or 3 times books or buying books? Do you buy them? Do you skip on them? What do you do?
I'll go first because I have the worst strategy, I'm sure, by far. I've never used any of my 3 times books tomes yet. I've never bought any yet. And I get ridiculed regularly on Discord for doing the summon board farming with the times 2 books.
I'm just going to step in
and
say that Eno was
yeah,
calling me crazy for grinding out my summon boards as fast as I was until he mentioned that he was doing it with 2x books and I was doing it with 3x books. And when we looked at the time investment, my time investment was about the same as his, but because I had a better experience per time ratio, I was getting it done that much faster than him. So he was freaking out about how much time I was supposedly spending on these summon boards for Ramuh, when really it was no difference, or I was spending less time and just getting through it faster because of the 3x books.
It's very fair. And my real life friend said the same thing because he was spending gems on his 3x books. I never spent gems on it. I never even used any of my 3 times books. And he said that his time was far more valuable than, whatever couple of gems he spends on books. Because I guess the normal strategy is what? Spend on tomes until you finish. Basically, he mastered all his Ramuh boards, though, I think. And I think other crazy people like Macnell did the same. And then he told me, I don't understand how somebody who regularly spends $40 to $80 every month on gems refuses to buy books with your extra gems. Because he's saying you get 9K to 18K gem extra every month, and you refuse to spend. I don't even know the cost because I never did it.
Welder in chat is saying that using a 2x book instead of a 3x book saves you approximately $1 an hour. So if your time is valued at $1 an hour, oof.
Yeah, that's about what you make at the I forget what the In-N-Out burger, what the burger chain is over there.
Right.
Yeah, that's about what you make.
Exactly.
Cook at the In-N-Out burger. So, yeah.
Cook more like.
Garbage,
like dishwasher.
Man, dishwasher. you press the button on the
I peel the potatoes manually,
yeah.
Even though there's an automatic peeler.
It's broken, though.
That's how low my rank is. Okay.
Yeah,
I will chime in here and say that I typically do not use 3x books, except for that early summon board treasure grind. It saves so much time because you have to grind so many treasures now with, 107, 108 characters now in the game, that it is a gigantic time save. Usually once I'm done with the special boosted period and I'm out of that, I'll switch back to 2x books, but I usually have a buffer of 3x books of each type just to save some time if there's something I need to grind and I don't want to waste a lot of time on it.
I use 3 times tomes for everything. I do not run co-op without using a 3 times tome. I use 3 times experience tomes like they're going out of style. I have not spent any gems on pulls this month. I have spent 6,000 gems on tomes. No regrets.
So 6,000 gems on tomes per summon board? Is that what you're saying about what it costs?
No, I don't have my sheet up here, but no, I just spent 6,000 to refresh, so I have about 53 times experience and 53 times items. Aminosa's saying, but yes, Mark, you buy gems. I do.
I'm going to chime in and say that I think I spend about 20 to 25 experience books per summon board right now.
Yep, that's
and I think that equates to about 2,000 gems, I think.
Yeah.
Hold on. So I think it's 100. It's 100 gems for 3 tomes, right?
It's 5.
I don't remember
the sale prices, and it's no longer active.
400 for 5.
Yeah.
So 400 times 5, 2,000 gems. That's a decent amount of gems, honestly. I mean, that's a good value. Good value. Yeah, it's a good value.
Yeah.
I know it's a smarter decision, and I have the least mastered boards out of all my co-hosts by far, I think. Look, all I have is, I think I have like 70 Ifrit boards mastered out of 100 something.
Oh, that's good.
I have less than 10 Shiva boards mastered. I have 6 Ramuh boards mastered. I am missing half of the Shiva treasures. So clearly I am the worst at summon board farming, and I don't advise people play like I do. It's just that you know, in my shitty...
There is a reason that Square Enix gives us the sales on the triple items every time a summon board comes up.
Yeah.
Because it is a huge time saver. And I would suggest that if you do not want to make this game your life, you use the 3X books for that special boosted period.
In my shitty lazy defense, and iJackalope in chat, thankfully, so I can say I'm not alone in this, iJackalope says, I get burnt out of farming if I don't use tomes.
Yeah,
never mind, I
he's not
misread
defending
that.
you
Okay,
at all.
so my shitty lazy defense is that it's honestly so rare for me to farm nonstop for 30 minutes. Very rare for me. I cannot do that every day. I could not find 30 minutes every day to farm straight, sadly. And
I'm going to comment and say that there was a couple of podcasts ago where this was about people playing it as a toilet game, and I don't know about you, but I can find things to do for 30 minutes on the toilet if I am pressed to do so.
First of all, I'm concerned that you're spending 30 minutes at a time on the toilet.
Eat some more fiber.
You should go see a doctor about that.
Actually doing stuff on the toilet, it's just wasting time.
But I'm saying, yeah, it's
After
a toilet
hours.
game for me, which means I play usually like 10 to 15 minutes at a time. Very rare when I play 30 minutes straight. There are many times where my summon board farming is interrupted. I'm not doing it optimally. And if I lose out on like 5 to 6 minutes of a ×2 book, whatever. You know, it's not a big deal. But if you can do it, yeah, ×3 books. But in my shitty defense is that I don't do, even if I did use ×3 books for all the 30-minute runs I've done, there's no way I could even empty. Okay, so I haven't spent any, and I've been gathering from the beginning of the game. I think I have a little over 30. And I don't think I'd be able to spend all of that if I tried, unless I specifically took a day off to play DFFOO, which will never happen.
So you're not allowed to complain when we're ahead of you on summon boards. Gotcha.
Oh, no, yeah, dude, I'm the worst summon board farmer. Like I said, I'm missing half of the Shiva treasures. That's 15k gems. That's horrible. Like I predict there will be a time a banner will come up, and I'll say, man, if I had 15k gems, I could pity this, and I'll probably miss out on. So I just can't bring myself to do it. I can't. Summon board farming is amazing. Look, Square Enix, great idea. You're giving people a lot to do, and there's always something to do when you're summoning farming boards, and it's worthwhile because it increases your character's stats. I am just too lazy to do it and cannot find the time.
There you go. So Ebonomics has a question from us, and his is, if you get an EX casually from tickets or a free pull, we just added a couple free pulls, 3 actually, would you throw weapon tokens or tickets to build up the character, or would you just lament that you jokingly pulled an EX and move on? What's your luck sack EX strategy, Mino?
Are we talking about if you get the EX and you don't have the 15 or 35? Is that the context?
It sounds like it's a if you luck sack an EX, what do you do? In the context of you don't get any other weapons along the way. And the problem is that all of us have been playing for so freaking long that it's only brand new characters that would happen with, so we're not the majority here.
So this did happen to me on this last banner, so I can say it. First of all, I just want to put out there, I hate the term luck sack, but I just keep using it because that's what the community uses. But like I said, I got Aerith's EX on the free pull, that last banner. I had nothing else MLB on that banner except for Serah's 15 and 35. So I was like, I'll just keep throwing tickets until the odds are terrible. And so I did 250 tickets, I think, and I got I MLB'd Aerith, I MLB'd who's the other Ace, and so I am the type who, if I get lucky and get the EX right away, I will throw more resources, not gems, but tickets, to try and build it up, because look, Power Stones are rare. I don't know how you guys are doing, but like I said, I've had a lucky 2 months. I went from 208 Power Stones down to sub 100. I don't know why you're laughing. It's not funny.
100. Oh my god, I feel so bad for you.
I've got 12, so
I've used over 100 Power Stones in less than 2 months. So I know how fleeting they can be. I know that pulling a duplicate and saving yourself 4 Power Stones is a huge deal. So I will easily throw tickets, because again, I've been on record saying I put 0 stock in tickets. Whatever I get, I get. I have no expectations from them. I will throw tickets to get dupes, for sure.
Yeah, I can answer that, because here in the last month or 2 months, I have gotten several characters on the 13 ticket challenge. I got Pain on the 13 ticket challenge and Ida on the 13 ticket challenge, and I weapon tokened their 35s and fully limit broke them. All of my EXs, I have 28 EXs now. All of them are fully limit broken, and all of those characters have all of their gear fully limit broken. So as of right now, if I get an EX, I take that character and fully limit break them and get all their weapons. So that's my strategy, I guess.
I am currently at the point in the game where, with the exception of new characters, if I am pulling for a character's EX, I probably have at least 1 copy of their 15 CP and at least 1 copy of their 35 CP, with a few exceptions. So for me, it's, if I pull an EX, I'm just going to limit break their weapons along the way at this point. Back when I was either A, getting very lucky with EX weapons, or B, did not have a weapon stash for most characters already, I would sit on EX weapons if I did not have the resources to spare. For example, when I pulled Vaughn's EX, I sat on that at 0 LB for a while. When I pulled Onion Knight's EX, the first, back when his EX banner came up, I sat on that for a while before I limit broke it, just because I did not have the resources to do anything with them.
Yeah.
So I think it's more, you have to think about where you are and is there value in going and hunting down the other weapons? Is this a character you think you'll be using for a while? Do you want to spend more resources maxing them out? Or is this something you can sit on until they come to a point where they are more useful for your current needs?
Aerith 29 just reported there is a Ject scene in the Rem LC.
Oh, nice.
So that's great news all around. Thank you for
Ject
watching.
is a better father to little girls than he is to his own son. Gotcha.
Yeah. Thank you for washing the taste of that last chapter story out of my mouth with what I am sure is to be a very pleasant cutscene full of whimsy with Ject and Realm.
We'll look forward to it. One quick question from C-Sam. What strategies do you do to stay disciplined and avoid bad decisions? I assume when it comes to pulling, that's really the only bad decision you can make in the game, or selling EX.
Okay, top
EX
suggestion
weapons.
for me, stay away from the banner draw screen. If you do not look at the banner draw screen, you will not be tempted to use any resources. That is the biggest suggestion I have. If you do not want to pull, do not go to that screen, period.
I notoriously download other gacha games and pull on those games for free. Well, so I don't have to do it for DFFOO.
Yeah. I was saying the same thing to Mark before the show. I was like, didn't we answer this question like 3 times already? Like, I just do other things, play other games.
Inkwelder agree with me. Just do not go to the draw screen if you do not
draw
want.
screen.
For
then
example,
you don't have to draw.
After Mino got the Realm EX in 50 tickets, I was like, maybe I should spend some tickets on that banner. And then I decided to close my game instead of going to the draw screen.
That's funny.
Guys, I've had so much luck in these last 2 months. I can't even complain about my bad.
You were owed that luck though, so I don't feel too
you had a
bad
pretty
letting
bad.
you know
You had a
about
pretty
it.
bad run, so you're catching back up.
Guys, I think I pulled like 12 EXs in the last 2 months, and I'm tied with Mark now. God, well, I mean, I still have 100k less gems, but I can't call myself super unlucky anymore. So I feel really good going into this.
You are not the least lucky of of the
Oh,
co-hosts,
God of
so.
Cloud has a really good suggestion in chat. Do not play DFFOO drunk. I will mention that I have made some of my worst draw pull decisions when I was drinking.
Yes.
All of my pities were from drinking. If you go back in episodes, you'll see that Kriese and I were streaming Kane's LC. I was drinking very heavily. I originally only wanted to throw 25k gems at it. He kept egging me on until I pitied.
I also
it
got
was a
Kane's
very
EX
bad time.
without 20 tickets, so that kind of
it was a very bad
keep
time.
pulling. So I
well, if
Yeah.
someone's looking for a good Kickstarter, if you could create a breathalyzer for your phone so that you can charge your credit card
I think those exist.
to
They
buy
have
more
to
gems,
exist. There's
or,
no way those
pull on
don't
banners that you shouldn't be pulling on. Yeah, that would be great. The preventative phone breathalyzer. Can't use your phone when, or that's texting or anything else. Hey, Jin Lee, thanks for the cheers. And
There's
thanks
multiple
for,
people.
Yeah, multiple people.
Oh, sorry, Mark. Go ahead.
No,
I was going to say
thanks, Jin, for the cheers, and thank you for all the work you do for us on our emojis and our backgrounds and everything else. Jin Lee is the mastermind behind all of that, and thank you for the support.
Yes, thank you, Jin Lee. I was going to say there's multiple people in chat right now saying that I convinced them to pull for Realm. I'm very sorry, but it seems like CSDX, you said you stumbled upon Realms EX. What did it cost you? Or the rest of you guys? Like, I think I said 3 times during my speech,
Don't
I'm
pull.
not advocating pulling for Realm. I just really like her design. Billow got it in 20 tickets. So look, that was a win for you. Hey, I always say, if you don't play the game, you can't win the game. So if you don't shotgun pull, your pool of X's is going to be very, very narrow. So 13 ticket challenge was very good for me. Got me a few EXs, got Mark a few EXs, Kriese 2 probably, right?
Oh, I've definitely gotten some EXs from 13 ticket challenges.
Yeah. So I mean, like, obviously you focus on metas for your pity, but I think it's good to shotgun pull on loose resources like tickets all the time. I've seen so many people get EXs they weren't planning to get, and then they enjoyed them immensely, like me and Noel, or Ink and whatever. I don't know.
Thank you, Stray Bead, for the cheers as well. And if you don't know, on Twitch, if you cheer, I probably should have said something about this earlier. If you cheer in October, you and potentially other people, so Jin and Stray both rewarded 3 others, including myself, thank you. And you get special RPG emotes. So they're random and they're weird. I don't know if you guys knew about this, but so I have like a fireball, a treasure chest, and a potion from watching random people. I think I got mine from Endy. So thank you for that, and some other folks probably got some free emotes that you can use forever on Twitch. So yeah,
many people speaking up saying I convinced them to pull for Realm. I am glad that my passion reached you guys, but again, stop. This is not a meta pull, people. I don't want you guys yelling at me if this doesn't clear your chaoses later. But
so Amino's saying is go all in on Realm. You will not regret it. So yeah, thank you.
No. You want to go all in on Lion next week.
Oh
That's
man,
what you really want
you
to
know
do.
what? I'm actually throwing the rest of my tickets at Lion. But no. If I'm saying anything, it's who was I talking to? I want to say Macnol. I don't know, guys. You know I'm always drunk at this time of the podcast, so correct me later. But I believe I was saying I convinced myself to pity Realm because I want to enjoy the game. I want to pull for my favorites. I want to play who I like to play. And Macnol, I believe, said that he has a friend who only pulls meta and has a ton of gems saved up, like 300k, 400k, but he is getting bored of the game because all he does is pull for meta and clear content and collect his gems. And if you wait for every meta pull, you're waiting a long time, right? Like a month and a half, 2 months in between each one. Or you're just trivializing the content by breezing through it. Once in a while, just like in life, you got to treat yourself. We play this game. Most of us play this game. I think 5DPZ or someone, like other people just hate everyone. But most of us play this game because we love Final Fantasy.
Chat right now, so he just
so he can remind us how much he hates everyone that's not Cloud. He can we play this game because we love Final Fantasy, we love turn-based RPGs. Enjoy yourself once in a while. I'm sitting on like what, all 275k gems. I don't need that many gems. You don't need the meta characters to clear. A lot of people pulled Vayne and said they regretted it because they barely used him in Cosmos. There were just so many other options, right? I barely use Warrior of Light, to be honest. I've been using Zac more than Warrior of Light, and it's just a reminder to enjoy the game, because even if you store up 500k gems like Magnol and then you quit, it was all in vain. You just ruined your time with DFFOO.
God of Cloud9, thank you for the cheers. Thanks you for everybody. And make sure if you're in Twitch chat right now, you may have gotten some gifts from all these wonderful people in the form of emotes. So, yeah.
Mark, do we have time to tackle one more question since it's relevant for this week?
Yeah, sure, please.
Lose relevance as time goes on.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Red Cane asked a question earlier today about raids. Let me just articulate it out, and then we'll give our feedback on it. Concerning raids, since most of the rewards come from link bells and the fight is particularly long, there's little incentive to play in a group. A lot of people seem to be starting the game in a group and then disconnecting to solo the event, using their teammates / summons characters without waiting for them to act. Do you think this is bad for the game? What, if anything, should Square Enix do about it? EX, more rewards for completing in a group, shorter timers for Cosmos co-ops, etc. I'll give my opinion first, and it kind of ties into what I was saying about the Cosmos co-op earlier when we were talking about the Blackened raid. I think they overtuned this fight to the point where it just is not fun to do at the Cosmos level. It's too tight, too stringent, that sometimes even if you're dealing with people who are in the Cosmos co-op room, you can't trust that they will do the right thing when they're supposed to. That it incentivizes you to want to, at least right now, just drop from the group and do it yourself. It's faster, it's probably easier, and you're more likely to not have to repeat it if someone screws up and wipes the party. And that it results in better rewards and less time spent on the co-op. I think going forward, Square Enix should just think about the co-op difficulty and avoid making them so tight that you have these issues where it's faster to drop and grind it yourself than it is to do it with other players. And that's the point I was trying to make with just saying it's more fun to grind the EX, because there's enough forgiveness that you're free to make mistakes and not ruin the whole co-op in the process.
I'll take a different stance from Kriese. I think whether it works or not, I know they have measures built in to do exactly what you're saying. You are rewarded for playing in an actual co-op rather than disconnecting by the amount of tokens you're rewarded, right?
The problem is that with these raids, the amount of Idogas you get as a co-op completion or co-op reward are so minimal that it's a joke. It's almost not even worth it in many cases.
That's fair. I mean, for raids specifically, it'd be tweaked, but for the co-ops, the tokens are what you're after. You do get a significant amount if you're not running Synergy or you disconnect and you run it solo. Some people are okay with that, like Erole, and I think you do a lot of solo co-op farming as well. And
I typically do a lot of free recruit farming when I'm doing normal co-ops. For this, though, I'm much more tempted to go solo co-ops because the reward for doing it with a group is not sufficient to deal with. Even if the players know what they're doing, the time loss involved, it sometimes takes double the time because you have to wait for each player to choose their action. And if players are distracted or they just don't notice it's their turn, then you lose 50 seconds a turn.
Right. So for regular co-ops, it's a risk reward.
I think for regular co-ops, it's not an issue.
Yeah, agreed. And agree with you.
For doing it with a co-op that it's actually worth waiting. For this, it's not, because the raids, so many of them are built into the link bells and doing it well.
Agreed. So I will agree that for raids, they could up the rewards. I haven't read up on future raids. I don't know if this gets fixed on its own in the future. This one is a little overtuned because it takes so long, as in, like, I don't even feel like popping a book for it. Because
honestly,
I'm only going to get 2
one of the biggest issues of this fight is that it's a damage sponge. It takes so long to kill the boss. Even if all the mechanics stayed the same, if it had maybe 3/4 of the health it did right now, that would just save so much time because you'd get through it that much faster because it'd be safer to activate a summon chain earlier.
Yeah, 15-minute co-ops are probably a little bit too a little bit too much.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, like Kriese said, it's a little overtuned. Hopefully, the rest aren't as big as a damage sponge. I want to say they maybe aired on the wrong side because there's so many strong DPS here.
Yeah.
You know, like you've got Noctis, king of DPS for Cosmos. You've got Noel, who's not very far behind, if not his equal right now.
He's above
Lock
Noctis
hits
in this,
decently.
yeah.
Yeah, right. Lock hits pretty hard. You've got Serah and Aerith, who both battery very hard, and whoever the sixth character is that I never see.
Ace.
Oh, there isn't one, is there?
Ace.
Ace, right. You got Ace, who's supposed to be a dynamite DPS, but you know, this is an extremely stacked roster here. So I can see why they might have overtuned it. It is overtuned, but it'll pass.
And we'll see moving forward as we'll have more raids and more co-ops and all kinds of different things. We've had the whole gambit of co-ops even this month, from very easy like the trick or treat to regular like the events to very difficult like this raid. So thank you all for your questions. Thank you, Hate13.
Sorry, one more thing, because it'll take 2 minutes to do, just to clear it from our questions list. Infinite loading screens bug. I'm going to say that I only experience this in places where I have a very bad signal.
Yeah.
So if you're experiencing
I've heard the same.
Check your reception. Make sure you have a decent signal. Otherwise, you might experience it more often. That's
I don't have that problem.
Worst time I experience it is if I'm in a place with a really bad reception for my phone. Otherwise, I'm okay.
Sounds good. Well, thank you, Hate13 and Venovis, for the cheers, and thank you all those who are supporting us. Thank you all for your questions. Feel free to jump on our Discord, go to podcast questions, submit your question. We'd love to talk about it, shout you out on the show as well, and discuss what you are asking and what you are thinking about. Thank you, all of you who have joined us. A couple things before we go. Looking ahead, AFMA event Royal Puppeteer is on the 20th. Autumn Festival Part 2 launches on the 23rd. We expect a community stream on the 28th with Leon LC following close behind. So once again, thank you all.
Note that the community stream is not official. That's just my best guess based
usually on the last
way
Monday
Square
of the
Enix has been doing their community streams. It's the last Monday of the month. So we'll see. And I doubt Joshua's going to tell us now, but that's just what I'm guessing.
Usually the last Monday of the month, and we have been on that schedule for a while. So thank you all of you who have been joining us on Twitch. Again, you can join us live on Twitch Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Central, or that would be Friday, 1 a.m. UTC. If you're in that time zone, that's pretty early for some of you. Thank you, all of you who are listening later on Twitch, on YouTube, or on the podcast. We just are just so happy that we have a wonderful community around us and that you've joined us for your City of Final Fantasy, Opera, Omnia, news, talk, and all that good stuff. Feel free to go to tccpodcast.com, get onto our Discord, follow us on YouTube and Facebook, on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter for updates and such. And we do, encourage you, go back and it would be episode 39, season 2, episode 39 was your initial Realm review. So go back and check out what Mino Spellgood said about Realm the first go around. And there's some also fun things listening to those old episodes. So for myself, for Mino Spellgood, and for Kriese, aka Sir Rink, we do thank you all for joining us and wish you all the best of luck, good pulls, and goodbye.